comes to the control map later on and even assault.
Right, you mentioned it's going to be difficult to take that second wave with a dive without a good dive. Stick will do anything in the European scene without a good dive right now. We're just running the very similar compositions.
Wait, they're still keeping Veinless on Widow.
Okay, and so Veinless is going to come out, look for a peek, and yeah, he's just going to break our hearts right away because we wanted to see Widow play. They're just not set up on the defense to give him any good angles, so I think that switch is fine. Maybe expecting a more aggressive defense, doesn't find it there, so holding pretty far back. This is something we used to see more long ago in Gibraltar. It's about like the third option for defense, in my opinion.
We do see Anna's from both teams as well, always using this range, the infinite healing range that Ana does have to your advantage. Position yourself on the high ground with the protection of maybe next if you're on Team Expert here, going for the attack, where we have Destro on the other side for Cyclowns to protect, which they've already dove in towards the high ground, but we don't see much kills or even damage coming in just yet, especially with Davin there on the high ground to defend. Playing in that position, it's really hard to penetrate that defense.
And that was the issue that Expert had on this map before. Decod got himself in good position through that room I was talking about before for a good dive angle, but he dove in 1v4. No one went with him. He's all alone. He played alone as the Winston there.
Well, now they're going to be paying the price here, but somehow Expert actually able to turn a couple of kills here. Nex and Cranks together, picking up 2. Eps has been forced to drop this contest the payload, but Latex is going to be here, but nowhere close to that Prima Rage, so we won't have any opportunity to actually stall this one out. They need the reinforcements here quickly. Eps still live on the Ana. Most importantly, to get the heals, but he gets dropped by Cranks. And this should be Team Expert taking this first point.
Decod able to have a little help from his friends there, finally able to do the necessary cleave early on, and then Cranks, as you mentioned, was able to get the cleanup there on the Genji, which Genji can be so good at. And speaking of Cranks, for this next fight, after how well that went for Team Expert, going to have the Dragon Blade ready here. So they're actually nearing most of their ults, Jason, and this is the momentum that you can get from winning a fight like that on first.
And knowing that Cyclowns are not running as Zenyatta, it allows Cranks to have that opportunity, that moment, to pull off a play of brilliance, to get a great Dragon Blade off, especially when they're coming in from the same angle through this this high ground. And you start to see him connect. You have Veinless here to nano boost him as well, so he has every opportunity here, but it comes down to how Cyclowns can deal with him. If Crusade can get a good boop onto him, they can force Expert to waste out on quite a few ultimates.
So you might just be looking for that angle that's away from the Lucio, looking where Lucio is, and you want to dive in away, because Lucio is one of the only ones, as you mentioned, with the PL up top, does come Decod, and they're just going to give him the boost, get all the cleave damage from the Winston. Cranks is going to come in with his blade aside from that, and get all the cleanup. So Decod softening everyone up, and the dash resets come through and through and through. You know how happy I am to see all this dash resets, Jason.
Very, I can see it on your face. The smiles, the twinge in your eye as well. But we are going to see the stall phase come in for Latex just for a little bit of time, but ID this payload should continue to move, but Pox, this is his opportunity now. If he can maybe pull off a good Dragon Blade here, they could potentially pull off the stall. They actually killed Talus before he gets a sound barrier off.
Yeah, Destro coming in over top with that barrier, unseen and untouched up there. They will use a late sound barrier of their own. And that might be a little bit of a mistake, especially knowing that you just killed the Lucio who had it, because he's in the middle of the animation, and then you use yours late after 2 kills came off. Now, Expert has to know they're in a huge support ultimate advantage.
I mean, Cyclowns used 5 ults there. They had the Blade, they had the Visor, they had the Nano Boost, they had the Sound Barrier, and they even had Latex before use the Prima Rage. So invest in everything they could just to stall, just to hold on to this point a little bit longer. But Nex is basically ready to go. If they can just clear him out, given a position with no diva against him, these are free kills.
Yeah, you have to stop the bleeding, so I kind of understand the notion of it. A nice sleep on Decod over top, who was trying to disrupt this shuttle, and he will not do so. Just takes a nap, sleeping on the job, tries to get out of there with the last remainder of that. But I guess Cranks didn't get the memo that he was getting out of there. Cranks finds himself out in no man's land.
All right, so with that kind of reset there, it does allow Cyclowns to continue to build up 1%, though. No one's really close to it just yet. Destro about 70%. I'm actually curious about the position that he's holding. If he's is he on top of the shuttle, because he has the opportunity to be protected there. And Vision's going to have a very difficult time, which we haven't even necessarily talked about him. It's been about Cranks and Nex. But he has the opportunity to look for a pulse bomb if he can just get in the right position and even dash on top of that shuttle to dislodge someone or the 2 players that are currently there.
I think you always sit up on top of the shuttle, even if your plan isn't to stay there for a long time, because it forces you to jump up. The jump does come in there. An early Nano Visor, now trying to find an angle around the corner. Does get some damage in, but no actual kills. And Vision does find a kill on the cleanup there. And now a nice anti-heal coming down as some kills come in for Cyclowns.
Not really sure how I feel about that pass. That Nano Visor was way too early. There was no need to get contested with on the high ground because they can just back away. But in the meantime, as we talk about, the payload's still moving. They still have picked up quite a few kills here. And they're forcing a tactical Visor to Destro just to defend yet again.
Well, Destro had the visor last time, but this time it's going to be Nex finding him too. I think they boosted Davin somewhere in there too, which is odd. You don't see Tracers get the boost very often. The stall is coming in. You see even the Ana over top waiting for Pox to get in with this blade. He will. Finds Paydirt another nice anti-heal, and they should be able to hold on.
Well, Vision's going to try him back in, though, taking out Latex, who's just trying to work around this left-hand side, trying to, I guess, continue to contest the payload, at least force them to kill him. And eventually, Cyclowns again will hold on. This has been about, what, 2 minutes of time they've been able to maintain when they were only 2 meters away from actually capturing that second point?
And the question always is the defense playing well, or is the offense playing poorly? And I think in this case, it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B here as you look at Pox on the cleanup there. And now they're getting down to it. We're nearing under a minute. And I got to say, I've been impressed with Epps. I think he's hitting the right nades on the right targets. The anti-heal has been very good for them, making this offense think twice about their engages.
Yeah, really good focus on the targets he does hit, too. And Nex has now been forced over to the Diva from the Soldier. So we can mitigate Destro, who's been a real pain in the side of Expert so far. But Decod's going to die before he even pops his primary rage. It looks like they're trying to bait out an ultimate, except Cyclowns didn't really have that many ultimates, but maybe they just didn't get the position they want to attack with. Maybe they didn't get the right angle yet.
Yeah, it seems like some of the communication is a little off just from having one person retreat while another person comes in, ships passing each other in the night, and apparently the radios between those two ships are broken. This is it. This is their last push to get any further progress onto the payload of Gibraltar.
Oh, Pox, though, he's actually waiting to flank in from behind, which allows Racine to push him to the front. Davin is going to be such a major factor in this, not to mention Latex, who's going to be the one to hold on to the Paxtral payload to contest this one as long as possible. Davin dropping off to the shuttle. He's going to be looking coming from behind. The Soundbird's being popped out of both teams. But Venus, you have your nanovisor. He doesn't pop the net onto anyone, actually. He dies with this one available, and that just might have cost him this point.
Well, Crusade clutched out a sound barrier there close to the end as he and Epps were both very hurt, and they are now both out of this fight. So all this healing's permanent, and Destro, despite coming up over the top where he's been a hero before, will not be enough damage to be able to take them down. They will grab second, and look how aggressive they're trying to be. They want to pick off any stragglers. They do find one in Epps, and they should be able to get a decent push up this ramp. This is Crinks on the Dragon Blade. As EP mentioned yesterday, we're in the blades and bombs meta, so you're going to see a lot of those on replay.
I really feel bad actually to call it Venus there, but he did die with his nano up, and Crinks had his blade ready to go, so they have that potential to use those two ultimates in tandem to close the one out, but they didn't need it. Looks like the rest of the team, actually looks like Cyclowns maybe over-invested onto the kill in the Venus. In the meantime, we're going to see Pox be nano boosted in with the blade. Looking like he's going to pick up that initial kill here, but we have nanos out of both teams. That's going to be Decod just being extra tanky, but no kills going their way, so maybe a couple ultimates wasted here for Expert.
Yeah, I was gonna say the silver lining of dying with your ult means, yeah, ult for next fight. There's different ways to look at things, Jason. Look on the bright side of life. You know, always find that the sun through the storm clouds, as it were. Down to 30 seconds here. I mean, yeah, I'm known for being the eternal optimist. Latex is going to have his ultimate up to be able to stall on the defense, and Nex has got this self-destruct. It could be a very good point for self-destruct coming over one of these edges. Not a lot of places to retreat to.
Well, the problem for them is getting around that first little elbow, because you can see Davin on the high ground with a Tracer is going to be stalling for time. You got Pox there as well, who can just dash and get in between there. They don't have any high ground control just yet, even though they do have Nex, they do have Decod. That's going to self-destruct put down, actually on top of the bridge, so it zones them out of that position, forces them to potentially drop here. But now the overtime is kicking in. We're going to see Cranks pop that blade, but he gets knocked away immediately. He doesn't have a dash, I believe, either. And that's 3 kills so far for Cyclowns.
And you got Decod all alone back there. He was in between 3. Yes, he takes down Destro, but he's the only one over there. Will finally fall. And I think the biggest flaw in Team Expert's game so far, if I can tell, is the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. The communication, I don't often call this out because I'm nodding on comms, but just visually what was going on there,
agree, yeah.
It did not seem like the coordination of the dive was there for what you need to get done from a dive comp.
I feel like after the first point is when the communication kind of fell short.
Yeah.
Like first point was clean. Like after the first initial, like I'm gonna
after
jump
the first
up top.
worst dive I've ever seen,
Exactly,
1v4 and Winston all alone.
Well, I mean, do you not remember us playing the other day?
Well, yeah, but come on. I thought we were friends. I thought we were friends. We were building this beautiful relationship. We walked to Walmart today.
We did.
Yeah.
We held hands. In my mind, not physically. I just wished. But yeah, no, it didn't really make sense with the initial start with how kind of choppy and how miscommunicated and ugly, let's just say ugly, the dive initially was. But after that first little bit of a slip up, they looked good in the first phase. Coming into second, though, we saw whether or not it was intentional, Veinless, Nanoing, Decod when we had Cranks pop his Dragon Blade at the same time. So maybe that was miscommunication. Maybe it was just like the fat
But they
finger.
did. Well, did they do it again later, or am I thinking of the defense?
Well, they did. They did. No, you're right. No, so on the attack, Decod at that final point, we saw both blades come in.
Yeah.
Cranks wasn't nanoed, but Pox was.
Yes. And
So-
target selection for your nanos.
It depends how you want to look at it, right?
Yeah.
Where do you put your faith? Because Decode obviously can do a hell of a lot of damage to Pox.
Yes.
But the problem is, if you can't speed your team away from Pox to get these resets, to get these dashes, then it doesn't matter how much damage you do to him. He's going to be creating so much space between you and the Winston that you're not going to kill him. So do you want to give it to Cranks to try to kill him? That's something that Movistar Riders do quite a bit, is that swoosh. When he was up against EU United, I remember Cruz talking to us about this. Whenever Cruz popped his Dragon Blade, swoosh would do it as well, but focus Cruz down every time to eliminate that factor.
Sure. And it's a nice target to go on the Winston because, as I mentioned, it's softening people up. You get a clump in, you get your dive in, and then that's what enables those dash resets. So everyone's at half health, and you can dash through one, dash through another, and you're all over the place, and it makes you unhittable and a damage-dealing machine. Now, a little bit different look here for the defense, as at least early on, they're setting up for poke, not holding too far back. But based on the fact that they've already gone to spawn and gotten rid of that Widow, it seems like they're going to hold in the same position as Experts did.
But look at Cyclowns now. They're not running the Ana on attack that we saw Team Expert doing. So they really want to invest into the Zenyatta, have that Transcendence to counter Cranks, who's been, I think, the real stand-up player for the team, for Team Expert so far. And they don't have obviously that unlimited range shielding. They don't have the Bio Grenade specifically, which is something they did really well with Cyclowns on the defense of bioing someone out of EPs and then focusing that target down. So they have to change up their style a little bit, but as we can see with the kill feed, it's working out.
Yeah, it's that mini game as well, too, to always have your grenade up to make sure that Transcendence does essentially nothing. It's a basic ability that can completely counter an ultimate. So a lot of that is going to be on Veinless to have the cooldown management and perhaps not be using the grenades as liberally when you get to the point where you're sensing there's going to be a Transcendence incoming. So far, though, they're getting a lot of kills, a lot of free progress here.
And we saw that earlier on a Route 66 game, just like nanoing a Genji in, and they pop Transcendence, but not having a Bio Grenade up at the right time. That's just simple miscommunication or simple not understanding of what you need to do in that situation as an Ana player. Obviously not going to call the player out. I can't remember for the life of me who it was, to be fair.
But simple arithmetic, which is a relative of simple geometry. Overwatch is full of these kind of things. They finally do get a kill there to stall out the offense, which had gotten a lot of free space. And I like taking the fights up front like that because you see all you need to do is win one fight. Instead of giving all that free push through Car Wash and setting up in the position to be dove on, I think you can get set up there again. That's why I've always favored the aggressive defense here. You get 2 fights instead of 1.
Well, the best defense is always a good offense, as they say. We're going to be seeing, though, the server room be taken out of Cyclowns with Destro having a visor ready. So do they want to transition him to the high position or just let him sit back safely here? As we see, you can start to see Davin pick up that initial kill. This visor, again, not really going to connect on it too much, but it will take Cranks down at least.
Well, they jump right in onto him. I think he was having notions of going up to glass. They sent people up there to clear out that path for him to rotate up, but as soon as he gets jumped on, the great response, and that is a very clean fight. Now they're trying to boost ahead because if there's one thing Gibraltar has taught us is that split spawns, are killers. Crinks finds out the hard way.
An Expert, I mean, what, they had 4 ultimates up that last fight and they didn't use any of it?
It's not the most expert thing to do, I suppose. Haha. But so what did I tell you? Silver lining. Silver lining, they're going to have those up for the next fight now. Maybe they're saving them. Maybe they just don't feel good on first. I'm not sure, but they've died with ults a lot of times, and you can't use ults from spawn.
Oh, Decod, though, is actually going straight to the payload, try to focus on a Crusade right away. Who's going to die with a sound barrier up? Ep's going to come in with this Transcendence a little bit too late, but the Bio Grenade out of Veinless, it's good. It connects on quite a few targets, gets Cranks those resets, gets Decod in there to soften them up, as you mentioned before. And there we go. That's what we need to see out of Expert. They did invest both the support ultimates and that offensive ultimate out of Cranks, but they needed to stop this bleed somewhere. And why not do it right now when these choke points are so easy to hold up front?
It's the most important fight of the game, in my opinion, on defense. If you're the first push in a second, can you stop them on the first push? Because otherwise, the card is going to be under shuttle, and they don't have to play in the same way. Now the blade comes in over top. Pooks does have the sound barrier on him, or Pox, rather, excuse me. Pooks is a different player. Going to take down 2, 3, and this fight all but over. 5 down, and Tracer unable to travel through space and time quick enough there. A full team wipe for Cyclowns.
Tally's, if you guys didn't notice at home, he actually booped before Pox went for the dash. And because of that, Pox just dashes right back in. Things if Tally's did boop a little bit later on when Pox had the dash already used, then we would have so much more freedom for Nex on the visor to pick off that kill. That he's forced him to deflect and not get any kills off of that. But in the meantime, Pulse Bomb going to come through. Crazy is going to go down. Pulse Bomb not even onto him. It was on towards someone else. I think towards Nex.
Yeah, it landed on the Devo, but such a big body, perhaps he didn't see it, but it also does beckon the communication questions, but everything moving so quickly. Decod will come in for the stall out on the Primal Rage, but despite that 1000 HP, Discord doesn't care. Discord deals damage, and he is down. They're going to be on the chase as well, looking for more split spawns. They find a few, and this is a really rough spot for the defense because this is not where you want to hold, essentially, where the yellow box of victory is on the ground.
And high ground is very important if you're the defending team here to get in that position and use that one, but they're not even running a soldier anymore. And you can see there the boot just a little bit too early. It gives Pox the distance he needs to dash right back in and pick up 3 kills in that one. But losing the high ground control, they need to be able to maintain that one. And Vision going to be looking to play Tracer on the low ground. And Epsons have Transcendence, so any big fight coming out of Cyclowns is going to be mitigated.
Oh, the Transcend does come off, looking for that nade. Don't quite see it just yet as he just peeks around the corner. They all retreat into that room right there. Pulse Bomb says happy birthday to the ground as Pox goes in. They get nothing off of it. 4 kills, 5 kills, and overall just being outclassed right now is Team Expert as Cyclowns will take Watchpoint Gibraltar.
It's just a very lonely island for Veinless out there, being the last man alive in that situation. Fortunately, that Battle Grenade not connecting, not allowing them to turn that Transcendence against them. That comfort you feel of having knowing that you're not going to die in a Transcendence, right? Unless that bio does hit.
We can be friends again. You're like one of the very few people who understand even half of my references, and I appreciate that. You're making it less lonely for me. Well, Pumpkins have a hard time in Overwatch in Europe. I think I see a lot of Genji plays of the game, and Krink's cutting it up, but I gotta say, I liked Pox a little bit better there in how he was managing some of those things, and Genjis are always gonna have monster plays, but so far on an individual level, it looks like player to player, that Cyclowns just maybe.
You're gonna have monster plays unless it's one of us playing them.
Yeah, that's true.
Terrible.
Yeah,
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
No, but I think that honestly, Team Expert could really take a page out of you guys' book, and you guys have been bonding. If I do say so myself, I've just seen that right now, like on the desk, and of course, but yeah, they were not necessarily on the same page all the time, and they had a few good plays. They had even their first dive attempt on second attack. Found a few early kills, and then they just weren't able to convert it into an actual team fight victory. It was a pretty long fight, and that happened over and over again. But what were some other indicators that maybe Expert needs to get on the same page?
I really just feel a lot of it was the tank play, and it's tank plays in both regards, is that when he would go in, he was going in alone. I mean, I just don't understand why you ever send Winston alone into a 1v4, which is the very first play we saw out of them. But then on the other part of things, he was often the last person alive, which meant maybe he dove too far, and then there was a counter jump, and he was always the last one getting cleaned up towards the end. There's something going on with how they're playing with Decod that's not working out.
We can at least argue, though, that the focus fire out of Cyclowns is a lot better than out of Team Experts. So maybe the dive in out of Winston was like, we can ignore him for now. We don't need to obviously attack him. Just go for the Genji, go for Cranks, who's in our face. But consider this is a team who's been a core 5 for a while. They were a part of alternate attacks. And then to transition to this with just a new support play, which we did talk about, is a little difficult to do. But when your Genji and your Winston aren't really diving together, that's other kind of problems, right?
Yes.
Well, let's move over to Cyclowns. Of course, the X Cyclones. It's complicated, but yeah, I mean they've had some decent recent results. You said that they like really could be a great team, and what did we see out of them here? They definitely had the upper hand. Are we seeing the kind of poise that could put them in the top echelon of this group?
I think so. I think definitely. I think they could easily come out probably first out of this entire thing for the 9th place, the coveted 9th place that we said earlier on. I think Ep's great addition to the team. His Zen was on point, but also his Ana, as we pointed out. The bio grenades he was hitting, then to make the call, focus that target, it's so simple in theory, right?
Yeah.
But with how hectic games can be and how hectic the fights are, to be able to pull that off and be that voice for your team as a new player to say, get that target, is really important.
Well, and he had a few great sleep darts as well, just to like insert myself in here. Well, I'll let you guys bond some more right now, I guess.
Aw, there's room for more. Yeah, the more the merrier.
We're gonna group hug after this.
I think you mentioned the calmness to have in those fights to make sure that you don't panic and throw the nade when you don't need to.
Right.
I mean, it's such an important tool in her kit. It's one of the best individual abilities in the game. That's why it's been touched balance-wise here and there. But to not panic when someone dives in on you, to know where your team is, to know you're going to get help, and then have it at those moments where you really, really need it, I think says a lot about his poise.
And the thing is, Eps and Latex both came from the Team Red reserves. And at the moment, they're trialing for the team, so not even technically in the roster just yet. But to have a support and a tank player work together, which we talked about as being like the two pillars of a team, you know, the two strong pillars of a team that you need in synergy and team play, they're working really well.
And one of the reasons for that is because when you change a tank around, then it makes the support's job harder. He doesn't know where the tank is. And when you change the support around, the tank doesn't know where do I have to be to get heals.
And how aggressive I can be.
Exactly. And the trust, there actually is a trust there. Well, we're going to be moving on to Lijiang Tower. And I believe the first point will be the control center here. Is there any particular heroes that you think we might see a little bit different? I mean, right now they're queuing up a little bit of the Sombra. The name almost eluded me. I've always thought could be good on this map, but we've seen mixed results. Do you expect anything different or just dive across the board?
I think it's got to be dive. I mean, if anything, maybe throw in a Reinhardt, depending on if you expect another Reinhardt. Otherwise, there's no reason to run a Reinhardt. I'm just saying that because I kind of mained him last season, and now I feel useless with him. But Team Expert already going to go into this middle ground and towards the white room, as Cyclowns, more importantly, getting control on the points. They're forcing Expert to come to them, most importantly. And at Latex, look, we talked about this before, diving in, has to know where support players to back away. This time, not going to work out as they got shoved a little bit too far back and towards their own spawn. But you can see he was aware of where they were going to be.
One of the things that you don't see a whole lot in this region is that they are running a D.Va, actually, and that can actually help to do a lot of damage to the tanks. Very good at shutting down Latex, as he was the one in the kill feed. And he's also going to be good at shutting down Destro, who's going to be having a more difficult time. So next, in that flex position on the D.Va, we'll see how long he stays. They have grabbed the first point during all of this. Valus goes down, though, and now that's a great go sign for Cyclowns to come back in.
Yeah, you can see, I think that's going to be Tally's going to pop that Sound Bear down. Catch only under 3. Cranks and Vision not really in a position to get that one, unfortunately. Dustro's going to take him down. You can still see Pops towards the right-hand side, now left, just trying to dash through, trying to look for some sort of damage. Actually, if anything, just buy some time, because Destro, he's not being punished. He's doing so much free damage from white rooms, from white halls, and just that alone, with him just dashing around, Pops just being that distraction for the team, allows Destro to go huge.
It was an interesting Sound Bear to me. I think that Tally's panicked. And we talk about poison. He was so low that it was mostly, I'm doing this to keep myself alive, to have this point stalled out a little bit. And I think he missed maybe a couple of the sight lines there. So that will be turned back over to Cyclowns.
It worries me, though, to have nerves at this phase. Like, we were watching NIP in the round of 16 almost not qualify for Contender Season 1. That's where the nerves should be kicking in. But now that you know, all right, well, we're in, boys. Like, we made it through. You should have no pressure on you. So it's really kind of weird to see that.
It is very strange, and I think it's the difference between some of the support plays right now. Team Expert is coming back, and they will have plenty of ults to use. Transcend will be the first dueling Zoomyadas on the point.
Why? I don't understand, because we have Dragon Blades up for both teams. It's going to come down to, can Cranks get the shots, or can Pox do it with the Blade? Pox immediately going to pick up that first kill, and Tally's over towards that right-hand side near the Mega, and it looks like they're going to win out the battle. Cranks actually didn't even use his Blade there. He realized maybe the Sound Bridge is going to be too difficult to deal with.
The self-destruct will find some in the back, and Expert getting the better part of this fight, but still some stall, valuable seconds coming in as it ticks up for Cyclowns here. Latex has the Primal Rage out, so he's stalling out. Davin's going to be a nuisance on the point, runs into a Tracer. TVT very volatile, but it is his buddy Destro is going to help him in there. And despite having a good opening to this fight, not a good close for Expert as it continues to wind up for Cyclowns.
We've been like 15-20% at this point being contested. Expert just cannot get the control. They cannot solidify the kills that they need to turn this around. Craig's finally dealing with Davin, who's been such a nuisance here, just dashing back and forth. But the kills, they're still going blue. They're still going Cyclowns. Valus, yes, he's able to finally pick up a kill on the Pox, but they don't have the control. They don't have the people, and they have to give it up yet again. So Cyclowns holding on for 20% in contention, still maintain the point.
It's something I see happen far too often on control point. The illusion of chance. The illusion that we're still in this fight if we just get one more ult in, but you've been staggering for the last 30 seconds, and you didn't take the time to understand where your position actually was. Decut goes down very early to Davin, and they're still going to Sound Barrier right after at about the same time. They're going to have a lot more health, but now it fades away. They're going to come in on the other side with Transcend as the victory cake. Victory candle. Victory cake. What's that?
I'm hungry too. Don't worry. We can get one of those after the show. But in the meantime, Cyclowns, they're the ones who are going to be eating their cake here on the first point of these Lijiang Towers. They do force Expert back. Decod going to contest the point maybe 1 second longer, but nonetheless, Cyclowns now 2 maps away of Lijiang Tower to get through.
You know what it is because since you've been away from America for so long, you don't understand how cake-filled our culture has been. So walking through the grocery store with Jason is just him like,
ooh,
yeah, like
ooh,
you got
piece of candy.
Yeah.
Ooh, taco. Ooh, Taco Bell. Ooh, this cake. Ooh, that ice cream.
You're like, look at all these flavors of Oreos. I didn't even know they made them.
That reminds me of the biscuit and gravy's Lay's chips we saw yesterday at the market. That just disgusts me, but also intrigues me enough that I might buy it next time we go there.
I have one word for you. America.
Yeah,
America.
Great country.
I mean, they should have just named those America, and it would have made the same amount of sense.
Southern America.
Yeah,
Southern America flavor. We move on to the next player of the Zhong Tower. It looks like Team Expert will be continuing to use Nex on the Diva, which we did talk about as dealing with Destro, but to be fair, dealing with Eps too.
Yeah.
Dealing with those right clicks, the Orbs of Destruction, which we've seen catch off a number of people.
I don't think he had the greatest impact, though, and so I'm not sure how familiar he is with Diva. That's a nice dive in, though, as Team Expert comes in, is able to take out the opposing Genji, still looking for more 2 kills. And Vision has come alive, I think, a little in these last few rounds. He's had a bigger impact than he did on Gibraltar, at the least, and they give up all the positioning on the point. A very easy first capture after a well-executed dive from Expert. They have the potential to do so.
Well, David just wasted all of his dashes to get into the point to stall for a millisecond, and now he's have to wait for those resets to come back through, and we're gonna see these discords come through. I actually like Vanus' position around the back. The problem is David can flank around. You can see Cranks, though, being very aware, looking in the different directions and making sure that no one directly gets behind them. And David has a lot of work ahead of him here. But if he can get this one clip, if he can take down Vanus, they actually have a good opportunity to pull this one back, but Apps is already falling.
That was a beautiful pivot early to save Vaneless's life, as Nex did swing around, kept him inside the Matrix. But on the other side of things, it is Pox hitting headshots with his shurikens, able to grab 2, able to grab the 3rd as Nex now off the cliff. So the nice distraction there from Davin, at the very least, to bring the focus around to him, getting the Zenyatta so low, open things up for the rest of his team. As Tracer, you don't always have to get kills. At least that's what I tell my team when I play with them.
That's what I tell myself when I play Tracer. And I tell them, guys, I don't have to get kills as long as I'm
distracting. You just do your job. I'm doing mine. Here comes the false bomb in on the side. No! Does not get it. Davin's plans are literally dashed as Cranks comes through and takes him out before he can land the bomb.
All right, well, Expert actually going to invest in Sound Bear, so hopefully nothing more than this. They don't need to commit too much for to take the point back, because Cyclowns have already completely backed away from this one. They're going to commit it. Actually, we're going to see the re-attack committed Cyclowns? Crusade! What was that, son? Why pop that? Because you didn't even commit a fight off the back of that. That had to have been a misclick.
A fat finger, as we like to call it here, and David will go down. This fight is effectively over, as both DPS for Cyclowns have been put out of this match. That's the cherry on top right there.
Ice cream cake. Ice cream cake later. I hope we get to see a replay of that post bump, because there was no Graviton surge to facilitate that. He just...
Someone might have mistaken, ran into their team with it, a dash into their team maybe. That's the only way I can see it happening.
Flashbacks from last night. But the thing is, for Cyclowns, like, that was a complete wipe. That's another 10, 15 seconds off the board for them. They're gonna use the Transcendence and the Blade at the same time. Cranks, he's just to wait. Just hold on to your Blade, use when the Trance is gone, if you still have enough people alive, and you can win this fight. Problem is, they've lost Vanus, they've lost Envision, they're now losing Tallies, they have no supports left. It looks like he's gonna commit this one to the next fight.
Going in one by one, but all this time, though, it has still been Expert, despite how the kill feed is now looking for Cyclowns. Finally taking it back over 79%. That's about the one fight territory for Expert. So what you need to do now, and even if it takes you a couple junk rushes of going in and forcing the other team to use ults, stack some ults, go in. You only need one fight, Expert.
Latex, so we gotta be careful if you're Expert. Actually, you have to go through main. If you go around that left-hand side or the right-hand side from this position, you can easily be knocked off this map, and you could say goodbye to their 20, 30%. But they get the D-suit, most importantly, next. I mean, that's gonna be huge for Destro if he gets his attack visor off in this fight, because he's gonna have no one actually contesting, no one to stall for him. He's gonna get so much free damage off. Even Next almost actually about to go down here as Pox cleans up that kill. So they get a kill for free, they invest a Prima Rage, which is a very quick recharge in ultimate, and they hold for another 20 seconds. The Expert need to force a fight on the terms that they want.
You'll take that trade. However, Expert is building up their arsenal at this moment, too. They're going to have Transcend, they have Sound Barrier. If you have 2 support ults and the other team doesn't, you should win this fight.
Well, Crank's going to have a tough time, though, because FC does have that Trance available. He's going to pop this one off. You can see not a lot of damage being done. Even the pulse bomb sticking to him. You saw what he did. He actually got stuck with the pulse bomb. He ran away from his team because he's a lot faster than them.
Right.
Kills no one with it. The counter trance is going to be used, though. In the meantime, they're fighting off the point. They're actually getting so much free percent for Cyclones, they've even been forced to contest.
And here comes the late Sound Barrier, too, because they don't need it for the next fight. They want to end it right here, right now. Pox with a double Dragon Blade kill. Crusade comes in and takes out the Genji. And another Pulse Bomb. That should be it. Cyclowns now one stage away from winning this set.
I love the timing of throwing a Pulse Bomb onto a D.Va who's D-suiting, because right when she gets out of the suit, surprise, a Pulse Bomb. So there we go. Yeah, Cyclowns. I actually pitted like Expert to most likely win the Zhang Tower. And they've had really close matches so far here. It's just they haven't had that final nail in the coffin, maybe that communication within the team to like think ahead, you know, to be forward thinking of what's the next fight, what do we need to say for that time.
Yeah, because of the 3 maps we watched Gibraltar and we're like, well, that looked bad for Expert.
Right.
We watched Control and we're like, well, that's clearly their best mode.
Yeah.
And then we watched Anubis and we're like, that was just a bonkers hold. I have no idea how they did that. So I was in the same camp with you. I thought Expert, their best chance was going to be on Control, but so far, making a few mistakes. It's not like they've been completely one-sided. They've had chances in these fights, so not quite over yet, but the route they're going to have to go will be the reverse sweep one. Here as we enter in over the holographic koi ponds. I didn't know they were holographs. I just thought I was really bad at fishing. Nothing. All right, sorry.
I just flashbacks to my times fishing, and I was too scared to even put the worms on the hooks, but I was the wuss when I was a kid. Yeah, I still am. But in the meantime, we do see both teams switch away from the Genjis, right? So we have Pox playing the Soldier. We do see Craig's playing the Soldier as well instead of Nex, who's been doing it before. So we're seeing, you know, mirror comps between the two teams with the 2-2-2. But it seems like Cyclowns a little bit more competent when it comes to playing that style for now.
Yeah, no Genjis on the field just yet, and I think that might be something that maybe Expert wants to look into if they get the chance. Put Crinks back on a Genji. If it's not going well at about 50%, then you start having to do those change-ups. I think a Genji can always work on any map if you really have the player for it. The dive comes in very early, not necessarily a follow, kind of a fake dive. Kind of went in, dropped the bubble, and it backed right out through it.
You can see in Vision too, he's trying to do the flank, do what Davin did before against Expert on that last map. Just come in from a different angle, force him to look at you. The boot gonna come in, it looks like someone to get knocked off. Yeah, it's gonna be Pox, so a big damage dealer is now down. The problem is he gave up his own life for this as well.
The Lucio down, the D.Va desuited. There is a little pressure on the point, but someone at least over there is to stall it out. Cyclowns is going to use this sound barrier on the chase. Maybe didn't need it, but my thing with sound barrier is if you're going to use it offensively, at least get 2 kills. I mean, at least make it somewhat worthwhile. They did. Not certain it was necessary, though. I think that fight was already in their favor.
It's kind of awkward considering that Cyclowns had the point.
Yeah.
But they were like on the bridge.
Right.
They weren't even contesting on the point. But instead of Expert fighting on the point, which we saw happen just in the last map on Night Market, they just fight them head out and then try to take the point after, which they didn't have the opportunity to.
Well, Epps is going to transcend here. The zoning destruct will come in as well. Epps actually has to get out of there as Decod is knocking people around, does knock Pox off the edge. Vision trying to get on, is so close to being able to flip this over, but Davin comes in with a pulse bomb, able to take out Crinks there, so if they can get some stall, they should be able to get reinforcements. Finally able to take out the Lucio, and look, here come those reinforcements.
Yeah, 77% built up. They're still looking at another 10-50% just because of stalling alone, and finally Expert are going to turn the point in the last few seconds here.
But the difference between 60% and 80% is huge. It's a fight difference. You only have to get one more now if you're Cyclowns. Pox is going to have the visor. Nex has self-destruct too. If that self-destruct comes out, Pox is just going to pop the visor and find an angle because it means no Matrix is going to be in his way.
The problem for Expert is that they don't really have anything to stop, or they don't have any ultimates to actually transition off this.
No,
and they use
here come Pox. Now, like, that self-destruct didn't get anything. I thought they were going to run right past through it. Didn't have the angle, though. They're going to really focus on desuiting the D.Va to try to get maximum value out of this visor. Visor is popped on the bridge, actually. A little bit odd, but they're sending people on the point, killing supports while all of this is happening.
So Destro gets the D-suit with the help of a Discord orb. Most importantly out of Epps, so really trying to focus his targets down, really being the mindful for his team of what we need to kill. And ideally, they should be able to turn this point around. Thing is, they did commit a lot of ultimates, but they have double support to deal with anything Expert throw at them. And luckily for them, there's just nothing offensively that's going to come their way. There's no pulse bomb. Attack Visor's not ready just yet, and he's not really going to have it up to kick off the fight. Maybe he'll get it later on, but that gives time for Davin to maybe stick him, maybe take him out of the fight completely.
Last chance coming in here. They have to win this fight. Does Expert. First of all, comes off Decod and already down. The Transcend will come in, but it is 6v4 on the point as desperation in the eyes of Team Expert as they look in. They have to use everything. Use them if you got them. Crusade with another couple of kills, all blue in the kill feed. Team Expert, not their grandest of showings. And right now, it does not look like they're going to even be able to stall. Discord and deleted. How we like to say things around here. Dallas will get a little revenge onto